A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time this afternoon as we seek to explore some of the stories that have been making headlines in Kenya and beyond. Exactly 10 days into the month of August, the year 2020, a day when over 20 million people around the world have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and more than 734,000 others have died. This is according to the latest data that we are receiving this afternoon. We are still urging you, wherever you are, to observe social distance and, of course, sanitize at every available opportunity. Wash your hands with soap and water. This is part of what you can be able to do individually in your own small corner of the world to help us flatten the curve, not just locally, but globally. A very good afternoon and welcome on board as we begin today's broadcast. A lot lined up for you ahead, so stay with us until the tail end of this particular broadcast. Of course, you can interact with us on social media at KBC Channel 1, and you can also talk to me directly at Serfine_Achieng on Twitter, on Facebook. You find me at Serfine Achieng. My name is Serfine Achieng, and our sign language interpreter is Simon Karotha. Now, we want to start straight away with one of the stories that we've been following up for you. This is actually in Kericho County. There was actually a team that was following up on the preparedness of that particular county when it comes to the mitigation measures with regards to the COVID-19. We are now going to be joined live by our reporter, Achola Simon, who has been following up on this particular event since morning. Achola, what can you tell us with regards to the state of preparedness in Kericho County when it comes to the mitigation measures on COVID-19?
Well, thank you very much, Serfine. Indeed, as you've rightly put it, we are in Kericho County, and where I am standing now is actually at the Kericho Teaching and Referral Hospital. The health CS, Mutahi Kagwe, is actually already here, and what he is doing is that he is inspecting the pandemic mitigation units developed here at Kericho County Teaching and Referral Hospital. And of course, from here, he is expected to head to Ainamoi, where he will be doing so again before eventually giving us an update of exactly the status of COVID-19 in the country. He arrived at around 11 a.m. this morning, and of course went straight into a meeting with the governor of Kericho County, Professor Chepkwony, and they've been there up until a few minutes ago when they concluded their meeting, and then of course coming here to start to inspect the mitigation units that have actually been developed in this region. Now, this is not the only county that he's actually been inspecting the mitigation units. He was in Kisii on Friday. On Saturday, he was in Kakamega County. On Sunday, he was in Kisumu County. And of course, today he is here in Kericho County. And of course, the key issue being that of ensuring that indeed the preparations that we've actually been told over and again that have been done at the county level just to be ready just in case those facilities will be needed at the county level are actually there. And indeed, if there's anything that the national government can actually do to ensure that the facilities are upgraded, then they are done. So he is here, as I've said, and he will be moving to Ainamoi. And of course, in Ainamoi, he will also be checking on the isolation center that has actually been put up in Ainamoi. And then, of course, thereafter, it is expected that he'll be giving the daily updates. Of course, the information that he's actually been passing over and again has been that of ensuring that Kenyans adhere to the health protocols that have actually been spelled out by the health ministry. He continues to say that people must wear masks, people must keep social distance, and people must always be vigilant of their next of the next person who is actually standing next to you, because you don't know who is having this virus and who is not having. And the other key issue he's actually spelled out has been the fact that those that have actually tested already and have been found to be COVID-19 positive, they must adhere to the set regulations of self-isolation. That is, if they are symptomatic. And those, of course, who need to go to health facilities, then they must do so. Of course, yesterday highlighting that unfortunate incident where a young man was actually confirmed to be COVID-19 positive, only to refuse to go into isolation. And of course, everything ending catastrophically when the parents of the said youth succumbed to the COVID-19 virus. So of course those are some of the issues that we'll be actually following keenly, so then we get to understand. Also, one key issue that actually came out yesterday that was a bit worrying was the fact that some unscrupulous doctors were actually colluding with families to falsify the COVID-19 test results, that then those who've actually succumbed to this virus can actually have quote-unquote a decent burial. Of course, this is an issue that we'll actually be following up with him today, so that then we get to understand if indeed there have been arrests and what is actually being put in place to ensure that indeed such acts do not continue to happen. So, Serfine, that is exactly what is happening. Of course, we'll be keeping a keen eye here in Kericho County, and of course, we'll be telling our viewers and listeners exactly what will be happening at around 2 p.m. Be ready to actually get details of the latest statistics of COVID-19 in the country. Back to you, Serfine.
Indeed, it is a busy day for the health CS Mutahi Kagwe, who is set to visit that particular county today to, among others, assess the state of preparedness of the Kericho County government when it comes to the mitigation measures on COVID-19. And this particular afternoon, we're informed that, among other things, the health CS is going to be touring the Kericho Teaching and Referral Hospital, ICU, plus the Ainamoi Isolation Facility, which is a new facility that has been set up by the county as their efforts are ongoing to just be prepared in case of anything when it comes to the spread of COVID-19. We will be staying close to that particular story. Anytime from now, of course, the health CS will also be giving his daily update on the status of coronavirus in the country. Now we want to look at what is happening elsewhere. A section of Kajiado County residents are demanding the county administration set up more hand-washing points in urban centers as pledged as part of the efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19. This comes as new mothers have been urged to exclusively breastfeed as part of efforts to build immunity of infants to battle the pandemic.
Kajiado residents say the county government had pledged to set up several hand-washing points in all urban centers. However, they are yet to see progress. They claim the lack of running water in towns is an impediment towards fighting the virus that spreads at a higher rate in Kajiado County, placing it among the 5 top COVID-19 hotspots with more than 1,300 infected persons and 15 deaths.
Na hapa Kitengela, hatuna maji. Hatuna tanks zenye governor ametoa. Hii donation ilitolewa, sijui imepelekwa wapi. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tunahimiza governor afike Kitengela kwa haraka na tuletee tanks za maji.
Tunaenda kusikia Kenya mzima, si tunaenda kusema nje.
Elsewhere, a cross-section of needy girls in Kisii Central and Kitutu Church and North sub-counties received a donation of personal effects from well-wishers to cushion them from the adverse effects of COVID-19. The school-going girls at Nyabisabo and Ragwanda expressed their joy when they were handed over sanitary towels and undergarments. Lack of the personal items during the coronavirus period has exposed many girls to sexual activities.
Thank you so much for those towels which they have given to us. They can help us for the next 2 months, and I will also wish that others could help us so that we could achieve our dreams.
Tunawaambia asanteni. Wasichana wameharibu mabranket, wamekata ndio wanaweka, wanatumika kama hizo mataweli zenye wamesawapea sahi. Kwa hivyo watoto wetu wamesasumbuka sana.
Meanwhile, with the COVID-19 taking a toll both on the old and young, new mothers have been urged to adhere to exclusive breastfeeding to protect the newborns who are at great risk of getting infected by the virus due to their low immunity. They have also been urged to refrain from accommodating visitors, as is the norm when a new child is born. Baringo County Nutrition Officer Ann Kimwa says mothers have to ensure they follow COVID-19 guidelines to protect the young ones who are at risk of the disease.
We also encourage breastfeeding, even if the mother is COVID-19 positive. We encourage mother to breastfeed. Following the guidelines, at least the mother should wear a mask. the mother should sanitize her hands and also to wash her hands. And the baby should continue being breastfed.
Beatrice Gatonyang-Etich, Channel 1 News.
Right, and for some time now, the State Department for Youth Affairs has been running a program dubbed Kick Out COVID-19 with the youth, and today that particular program received a major boost after the department received hand washing stations and other personal protective equipment from the government partners in the fight against COVID-19 as part of just boosting that particular department in helping young people have a place in the fight against COVID-19 in the country. The event is currently underway at the KICC right here in Nairobi. Joining us live is Yusuf Farah to give us an update on what is happening on the ground and probably what are some of the issues that are on the table for the young people going forward when it comes to the fight against COVID-19. Yusuf.
A very good afternoon to you, Serfine. We are live at KICC, where the State Department for Youth Affairs has today received hand washing stations, soaps and sanitizers from donors coming from Dettol, from the Earthworks and from StarTimes. Now, the CAS's Nadia Abdallah and Dr. Mercy Mungangi have reiterated the need for the youth to be on the forefront against this fight in the coronavirus pandemic, where the youth have been told to champion, to speak to the other people around them, to speak to their communities on hand washing, sanitizing and keeping social distances. The CAS Nadia Abdallah also said that the government, even with the challenges that the country is facing economy-wise, is trying its best to cushion the problems that the youth are facing as far as unemployment is concerned through projects like the Kazi Mtaani and sort. Now, this is the information that we have at the moment, but we will be informing our viewers in our subsequent bulletin. But right now, it's back to you, Serfine, in studio.
All right, thank you so much, Yusuf, for that update. Of course, we'll be getting more details about this particular event that happened today in our subsequent news bulletins at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. Now, on to some matters. NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua is faulting the government for allegedly failing to provide a clear roadmap on the fate of the education sector. Karua has taken issue with the Ministry of Education's decision to suspend learning for 1 year. At the same time, she has lashed out at what she terms as profiteers of the pandemic, demanding accountability in the spending of COVID-19 funds. Further, she wants the government to divert funds allocated towards the Building Bridges initiative towards boosting healthcare as the country battles the pandemic.
To the long-drawn confusion and lack of leadership in the education sector, comprehensively address growing concerns by parents about the fate and future of education. We do not believe that putting our children's education on hold for a year is acceptable. Parents and learners need to see leadership that inspires confidence and the message that the government knows what it is doing. A leadership that consults widely. This is not the case. We need a full disclosure, transparency and accountability for all the COVID-19 funds, resources and equipment from all sources, including loans, grants, donations, in-kind and support, both locally and internationally. We demand the government publishes and makes accessible the roster of beneficiaries of the government COVID-19 relief funds and PPEs to date. We further demand that the government reallocates and redirect significant national government budget and resources to health. We are not here to help government prescribe for government how to do its work. As an opposition party, we aim our criticism, which is constructive criticism to the government, whom we pay to find answers. But I'll say this, there is obvious lack of leadership in the education sector. We can't keep on having flip-flop in what will happen to the students. And these blanket statements that all students and pupils will repeat a whole year. Nobody is telling us who will pay the fees. Parents are already strained. And we all know what a year of not being in school means even to a young child, leave alone those who are doing their exams.
Now, away from Karua's concerns with regards to the paralysis in the education sector, we take you to Meru County, where a section of Meru County leaders have come out to support the one person, one vote, one shilling revenue allocation to counties. Led by Igembe North legislator, who is also the deputy chief whip at the National Assembly, Mauka Maure, the leaders urge the Senate to act fast and resolve the stalemate that has grounded county activities. Emily Kay tells us more.
Led by Igembe North Member of Parliament, Mauka Maure, the leaders argue that the proposed formula is the best for the counties, urging senators to vote for the proposal without amendments and allow money to be dispatched to the counties.
We want to say that we are supporting the idea of one man, one shilling, one vote.
Sisi tunaungana na nchi kusema tunataka mambo ya one man, one vote, one shilling, kwa sababu pesa hutumiwa na wananchi. Pesa iendangi kwa landmass ama inaitwa landmass ya inaitwa landmass. So tunasema wacha pesa ya nchi igawe kulingana na wananchi wanaokaa katika kaunti mbalimbali.
At the same time, they backed the BBI and handshake between the president and opposition leader Raila Odinga, adding that the BBI is the only solution to ending stalemates such as revenue sharing.
It is populations that actually should receive the revenue. So we don't want a story to come out whereby you feel money should be given to 200,000 people, the same amount, like 1 million people in a county, but because the 200,000 people, they have almost 1 million square acres, that you say these people should be getting even more money than where there are more people. I think there's a hypocrisy that it needs to be addressed, and that's why we want to support the BBI, and that BBI will have a solution.
The stalemate has left the 47 devolved units facing an imminent cash crisis, a situation that risks affecting the delivery of crucial services. Elsewhere, women leaders from Narok County have applauded the appointment of Lydia Ntimama and former Speaker Alex Magero as support to the Ma community. The newly appointed Ma leaders were urged to help the president achieve his Big Four agenda and represent the Ma community interests.
Narok tunapiga vigelegele na tuko na shangwe kubwa sana. Kwa ajili tumefurahia jambo alifanya, alituchagulia viongozi, alichagulia sisi viongozi kwa hii nyumba ya Ma, na amehakikisha ya kwamba hakuna, kama ni Kajiado tumepata viongozi, kama ni Narok County tumepata, inji yote ya Ma. Sasa tuko na raha kubwa sana.
Meanwhile, the NAC party has begun to spread its tentacles into Kirinyaga County, with several leaders from the Mount Kenya region joining the party.
Wakati kama huu, kila chama iko na msukosuko yake, na ndipo tukaona ni sawa tujiunge na Mundavandi. Chama yake ni ya amani, na sisi tunataka amani.
Speaking in Kirinyaga town, Mount Kenya NAC party coordinator Simon Gikuru called on leaders in the region to continue supporting the party leader in his quest for presidency.
Watu wa Mlima Kenya raundi hii inaonekana wameamua na wanataka kuona uongozi wake, kwa sababu wanajua ni kiongozi ambaye hana dosari hata moja ya ufisadi.
For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
All right, in case you haven't interacted with our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1, please do so. We post some of the stories we have here for you. And in case you missed any interview, you can find them posted on our YouTube platform. As you do that, allow us to take a very short break. We are coming back with much more.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu, mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko. Na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde, ukitoka nje, ukifika kule nje, kuna hata maji yamewekwa nje na serikali. Unanawa mikono kwa maji na sabuni. Na maji yenyewe yawe ni yale ya kutiririka. Pale unaponawa, unaangalia usafi wako wa mikono, unaosha huku nje ya viganja, unasugua katikati ya vidole, pia huku kwenye kucha, manake uchafu wajifiche huku kwenye kucha. Uoshe, kisha sunza na maji yanayotiririka. Maji yakimwaika, kusema kweli tutashinda. Tuzingatie na tutii sheria. Korona tunaishinda, na baadaye maisha yatarudi kama kawaida wa Kenya.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
On Matters Entertainment, we are your plug.
That's what's up.
We feature Hat the Band.
Na bandi yetu iko tight. So walikuja tu hivyo na tukaona we can do anything.
Ben Psycho and Kate the Model are also in the mix.
Ingome imeget opposition zingine crazy.
Sheesh, but God amekuwa tu anaona, you know.
God amekuwa tu anaona.
A lot of money I was spending on clothes, shoes, and then I was like, everybody's like, hey, see, umeanza kupiga maluku, and then I decided to join.
As is the usual, see you at 10. What you gotta
do? Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Isn't it a bit early to be drinking?
You visited me to judge me.
I'm not judging, merely concerned.
Who cares?
I thought he would be busy training for his so-called international fight. I must put a stop to this.
There's so much going on.
Are you challenging me, Hamid?
To what?
Proving how little I need anyone, least of all you.
All right, we now want to take you straight to Parliament buildings this particular day when young parliamentarians indeed had a say in the ongoing revenue allocation formula. They say they want a win-win formula in the division of revenue in the country, among other issues, which include the fact that they indeed underscored that young people are key pillars in driving Kenya's economy and deserve a slot in key decision-making in the country. We now want to listen into what they have to say this particular day. Currently speaking is a Member of Parliament for Molo constituency, Mheshimiwa Kuria Kimani.
When we did the inquiry to come up with this framework, one thing we got was that there is a very definite disconnect between the actual engagement of young people in policy making. And when we say policy, it means it's decision making, right? And public policy, the reason I even got interested in it is because I had a conversation with myself about, okay, there is law, but not so much seems to change. There must be a different way the government is working. So when I looked into it, I was like, oh, that's what public policy is. That's what interested me in looking at it, because that's how the government is making decisions. So if you look at the single largest institution in any country, it's the government. It has its fingers in every part of the country. And then if you go down to that, any end of that country, let's say you go to Hola, or you go to Malindi, where it's 60 kilometers from the main road, and the only network is Airtel. I'm not pushing any, but just to demonstrate, right? And they have to go to bed at a certain time because there's no power or electricity connected. How involved are young people from that area, right? So, and then if you tell me that there's a public hearing on the budget, and I need, maybe it's almost 3 hours travel to get to wherever that conversation is being had. And that 3 hours travel is a work day for me. So as a young person, I have to choose whether to make money on that day. So let's say I work in a Safaricom shop, or I'm a do the guy, right? When am I leaving? Even my regular job, I've gone to, excuse me, boss, I've gone for the public hearing. Even that's an institution that needs to be educated about what public engagement means, right? So I'm just trying to paint a picture of what the barrier.
Right, those are just some of the sentiments from key speakers who are currently speaking ahead of the International Youth Day that is slated for Wednesday this week. Among key agendas include the fact that they want to really bring the youth on the forefront when it comes to matters leadership and allow the young people also have a spot at the table where the decisions with regards to how we run this particular country are made. Remember, the International Youth Day is on Wednesday this particular week, and that function there is bringing together quite a number of stakeholders who are working on just empowering the young people, and including among the people who are attending this particular function are young parliamentarians who also had a say earlier. Our Gladys Mungai is in this particular event, and we will be getting more details about this particular story later on. Now we want to move on and focus on other matters here. Emurua Dikir, Member of Parliament Johanna Ngeno, is demanding an apology from the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembeya following his remarks that the high birth rate within the Kipsigis community has indeed triggered land conflicts owing to competition for limited resources. Natembeya made the remarks during a peace meeting in Marishoni, where he called on the community to control the birth rate for the sake of the region's development.
Hatuja-evict mtu na ila siku ya ku-evict mtu ikifika mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu utakuwa unatoka hauangalii nyuma.
It is this remark by Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembeya that appears to have angered the MP for Emurua Dikir Johanna Ngeno.
Kudharau wa Kipsigis, kuongelelea juu ya wa Kipsigis kwa njia mbaya ni kutusi jamii, na hatuwezi ruhusu mtu yeyote, either kama we are holding any position in government, either you are not holding any position, hatuwezi ruhusu mtu yeyote kutusi jamii yetu na kusema ati wanazaa kama njugu.
The legislator faulted his remarks in which he cautioned the community against failing to practice family planning in their quest to increase their numbers for political reasons.
Tukitaka kuzaa venye tunataka kuzaa tutazaa. Na hakuna mtu anatuambia ati muzisae, na si ati kwa sababu ya siasa. Siasa ilikuja juzi. Wa Kipsigis wamekuwa wakizaana tangu dunia iumbwe.
Ngeno is now demanding an apology from the commissioner, saying family planning is optional and not in the constitution, and that the regional commissioner should respect their cultural ways.
Dunia hii ikiisha kuna binguni. Kwa hivyo Natembeya asijifanye kama yeye ni Mungu, anajua mahali ati tukijaa hapa ati tutaenda wapi. Mungu ndiye anajua. Tukijaa hapa dunia hii, Mungu anaweza teremusha dunia nyingine. Tujae hapa. So nataka niambia Natembeya, you must apologize to the community. You must apologize to the Kipsigis community. And you must apologize to the Kalenjin community for.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Elsewhere, Laikipia North residents are up in arms over devastation caused by straying elephants, leading to loss of lives and continuous destruction of property. The locals are calling on the authorities to move with speed and stop the invasion of the jumbos, failure to which they are threatening to take matters into their own hands.
Na ndio hata iko karibu kuipa kabisa, anabeba anabeba mtu ya imagine kuangalia kitu mpaka amefika mahali imefika.
It's a cry for help from the distraught residents of Laikipia North, who now live in fear of the marauding jumbos.
Ndio tena imeingilia machamba, ndio imekanyanga hapa, na ndio ifule merarua hii manini, ndio mzima iko na watu, na tunalia mpaka nini.
The residents are counting losses following a recent invasion of the jumbos that has left a trail of destruction in their farms.
Unaona penye hapo ndio nakuja kwa nyumba yake ndani ya boma ya watu.
Julius Lekerma, for instance, narrates how he was recently trailed by an elephant that eventually brought down a house with people inside.
Kwa ni shida kulete, na ukijaribu kwenda kuleta mali ya kuone ndio inakuleta mbio kwa nyumba. Sasa mpaka hata inakuja ukitaka kuingia kwa nyumba ndio inakuja inapita nayo na hiyo nyumba. Kwa nyumba kama hiyo umeona, nimejaribu kuenda kufukuza mbuzi ile isikanyangwe na ndovu ikapita na mimi ikakuja nikapita nyumba. Na hiyo nyumba ilikuwa na watu ndani. Ni Mungu tu amesaidia hiyo watu hajakanyangwa.
What's more, the locals disclosed that the invasion has led to loss of lives in the last 3 years.
Imeua hata mtu mmoja hapa anaitwa Lokoliwa. Juzi imeua msengine hapa anaitwa Lemongi. Watu wawili wanya na usika na hii kitu inaitwa ndovu. Akuja achukue apeleke mahali najua.
This on top of the fact that women and children cannot run their day-to-day errands for fear of being attacked.
Kila siku ukienda hata maji unakuja kula bila kuchota hiyo maji. Ukienda kuni unapunguzwa. Hata jioni mnaomba tu Mungu ipikishe ile mtoto anaenda kushunga.
This is why they are now calling on the government to intervene and help deal with the situation before it gets out of hand.
Hakuna mtu ambaye yuko usalama hapa. Kwamba mkuje mshukua mali yenu, mkuje muondoe wanyama yenu. Msipoondoa tutaua. Lazima tuue. Hii mkuki ambayo tuko naye hapa ni ya kuua.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Serfine Achieng.
Thank you, Serafina, for that report. We now want to take you elsewhere and focus on the rights of the girl child. Kuria Council of Elders is on the spot of a role played in the rising cases of teenage pregnancies in Migori. The elders particularly stand accused for allegedly condoning retrogressive cultural practices as they carry out their dispute resolution mandate. A number of rights activists also claim that the community's guiding lights have failed to take action against families that are marrying off their girls, especially at a tender age. The issue came to the fore after a botched marriage plan for a 16-year-old girl who was being married off to a family in Kuria West. The region has also been in the news over the increasing cases of sexual violence meted out on women and girls, yet numerous cases go unreported as community members choose to settle the said matters through the Elders Council.
2 days ago, we managed to rescue a girl who is 14 and she was getting married to a 23-year-old young man. And the wedding was being presided over by the father, who is a pastor. So we are wondering where we are going if a pastor can marry off a girl who is 14 years and he seems not to care about what is happening. We are really having it tough because our young girls are being defiled, and the community is getting it tough to get people to help them, because sometimes they report the cases and the cases are not taken seriously. So they lose hope. They say even if we report nothing is done. So some of them decide just to look and keep quiet.
We have cases that are taken to the Ritongo, but we still say that that is wrong because there is law. There is the Children's Act that should be respected. We know that in our culture, a girl of 14 is enough to get married. That is from the cultural perspective. But we say this child has a right to grow. The child has a right to be attended to. The child has his own rights. And the child has a right to education. So the Ritongo is there. We respect it. Let the Ritongo do things that pertains to grown-ups. And even to grown-ups, not rape.
And in Turkana County, the county government has partnered with a non-governmental organization to construct an earth dam in Pelekech that will end the perennial water problem in the region. The dam, which is expected to generate 50 cubic liters of water, will also assist the community in the livestock and agricultural sector.
It's a sigh of relief for the community in Pelekech, Turkana County, following the commencement of the construction of an earth dam in the area. The community has for years been subjected to hardship due to scarcity of water, forcing them to continuously migrate in search of water.
Jambo mkuu sana ajabu,
wanyama wetu wapate kunywa maji hapa karibu katika eneo hili, ili pia sisi ili pia wanawake wetu wakae karibu, wacha kwa mama na mbuzi mahali pambali.
The earth dam is said to be completed in 2 months and will benefit approximately 500 households. The water will be used for livestock, agriculture and domestic use.
Kwa sababu tunatarajia kwamba under the livelihood programs tutakuwa tuna support hii jamii kwa mambo ya kilimo, ili waweze kutumia hayo maji ambayo yatapatikana ili kwa kupanda zile mmea ambazo wanaweza pata pia mapato.
And it's going to serve like an approximate 5,000 animals that include goats, sheep, camels.
According to the non-governmental organization, it projects to spend up to 23 million shillings in construction of the dam. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serfine Achieng.
All right, and it's now time for us to focus on matters business. And the Kenya Wildlife Service has joined forces with the Kenya Defence Forces. And of course, this story will be coming to you later on. We now want to go to our reporter, Betty Kiptum, for the latest updates on what is happening.
A very good afternoon there in the Broadcasting House studios. I am here at the Sarova Mara Game Camp, and we just want to have a conversation on matters, the drinks that mixologists are making right now. Remember that there was a ban on selling alcohol in open or public places and just in the rooms of clientele. And here that is what is happening. We want to speak with Mohammed Halkano. He is the chief mixologist and the head barrister as well. Thank you for speaking with us. Would you just tell us how this has affected your craft and maybe the clientele that you're having?
Okay, the issue of the selling alcohol has really affected us as per the government directive, specifically from the President of the Republic of Kenya. So they have really banned selling of alcohol. So what we did that, as a sales personnel, as sales people, we come with another tactics of selling, whereby we introduce, like you see there, fresh squeezed juices, selling of smoothies, coffees, and things like the toddies, the virgin ones. So that's the way we are doing. We are promoting ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And you're saying that is how you're selling it to your clientele. Are there some maybe who come and ask for alcohol at this time?
Yeah, usually several come and ask for alcohol, but usually we tell them that as the government directive, we don't sell alcohol publicly in the open place. Unless we serve some of them in the room, maybe the room service, private places, we do that one. But selling alcohol publicly is totally banned. Mm-hmm. So that's a big challenge for us as well. At the same time, making the sales, the revenues, were a bit low. So that's why we came up with some few ideas or several ideas how to make the sales.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. That is Mohammed Alkano. He is the chief mixologist here, and he's telling us that they are only making just non-alcoholic drinks, trying to maintain their skills here. Alcohol is not the only thing that is not going on right now. In this place, the cultural activities such as the dancers who are the Masai Morans, they cannot be dancing right now because we spoke with the manager earlier on. He tells us that they cannot ascertain the status, the COVID-19 status of these dancers, as well as just other community members who used to come here for the tourists to enjoy. And funny enough, not funny enough really, it is a big up for the domestic tourism sector because this particular camp has been full the previous weekend. It has been full, and they're telling us that it's only Kenyan tourists, domestic tourists who have come here. That is the same story for most of the camps in the Mara right now, saying that they are full with domestic tourists, and that is what the government is calling on Kenyans to ensure that they revive this sector because now the international flights have been opened, but not all countries are allowed to come in and even start touring. Some of them, especially the high-risk countries, will be forced to go for quarantine once they arrive. The others have to come with COVID-19 free certificates. And right now it is dinner time here it's lunchtime. You come to the dining area and one Martin, he tests your temperature and just ensures that you are below the temperature that is required. Could you kindly test mine?
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome to Sarovo Mara Game Camp.
Thank you very much.
Restaurant. With all due respect, my name is Martin. May I kindly take your temperatures, please?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
There we go. Please, after that, please, we have a sink over there.
Yes, there is a sink. You can sanitize.
Or sanitizer, please.
Yes, and once that is done, you can now go in and serve your lunch. Right now, the dining area is almost full. You are only served on the table. There is no buffet that is happening right now. All the food is served on the table as per the government directive. So really, even as these hotels continue to reopen, there is the challenge that not all jobs are back. Some are back. Some of the employees here are back to their jobs, but not all have been recalled. So it is a slow opening process for the tourism industry, which will continue, and hopefully the domestic tourists will play their part. Thank you very much. This is Betty Kiptum from the Mara. Have yourself a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Betty Kiptum, for that. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Of course, this is coming from the Masai Mara ahead of the annual wildebeest migration. She's just following up on the status of even the local vis-a-vis the international tourism when it comes to this particular annual event, and talking even about the precautionary measures that has been put in place at the Mara just to make sure that there is no spread of COVID-19, even as tourists will be trickling in to witness this particular annual event. We now want to move on. The Kenya Wildlife Service has joined forces with the Kenya Defence Forces as well as the county government of Taita Taveta to extinguish the sixth and the latest fire ravaging the Tsavo West National Park, which has since halted tourism activities in the game reserve. The fire, which started at the Sheikh Dam area Saturday afternoon, is suspected to have been lit by arsonists.
In May, an out-of-control inferno destroyed 4,000 acres of Tsavo East National Park before it was finally put out. According to KWS, the fire started at Lebanon Village, 15 kilometers from Voi Town. In its sixth occurrence, the wildfires are raging in Tsavo West amid growing concern over increased human-wildlife conflicts. The fire, which started at the Sheikh Dam area on August the 8th at 2 p.m., is suspected to have been lit by arsons. Police are tracking down this suspected arsonist as well as working to extinguish the fire. The twin parks are the largest protected areas in Kenya and are home to most of the large mammals, cat family and 500 bird species, among others. Elsewhere, tourism investors in Malindi are redefining their spaces and services to suit domestic tourists after hotel reopening.
Kufikia sasa, hoteli ziko prepared, zile ambazo bado ni kidogo sana, na kila mtu yuko na hamu ya kufungua tupate kuvutia wageni, na natumaini wale watakaokuja watafurahikia kukaa kwao Malindi.
Among the strategies include setting up special offers and packages that are affordable to local tourists and events that attract tourists of all kinds, both local and international guests who are in the country. Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Kilifi County Chairman Majid Swaleh has lauded the move to boost domestic tourism, saying it will ease dependency on foreign travelers and foster nationalism.
And I like very much Malindi, especially when I say Makuti roof, because especially Malindi is only Makuti roof.
Currently, over 40% of the resorts have reopened their doors in Malindi as stakeholders remain optimistic of a better performance in November ahead of the festive season. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
All right, now moving on, Twitter has approached TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance to express an interest in buying its U.S. operations. According to reports, video sharing platform TikTok has been at the center of a fierce debate in the recent weeks and takeover talk. Let's now have a look at business stories making headlines across the world.
Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump ordered firms to stop doing business with TikTok within 45 days over security concerns. Tech giant Microsoft is the front-runner to buy TikTok, but now Twitter has emerged as a possible suitor. But it remains unclear whether Twitter can afford to buy TikTok from its Chinese owners and can complete a deal within the 45-day window. The value of TikTok's U.S. operations are unclear, but estimates put it at tens of billions of dollars. Twitter's market capitalization is about $29 billion, dwarfed by Microsoft at more than $1.6 trillion. But experts believe a possible Twitter deal would face less regulatory scrutiny than Microsoft's. The Trump administration claims that the Chinese government has access to user information gathered by TikTok, which the firm has consistently denied. And China's tourism industry is gradually recovering as the country continues to ease its COVID-19 lockdown measures after having successfully controlled the spread of the virus. Amid strict pandemic control and prevention measures, many tourist spots have now reopened to the public. On July 14th, authorities allowed for trans-provincial group tours to restart operations. Saturday, a cross-provincial cruise, the first cruise to operate 3 gorges along the Yangtze River since January 22nd, when all cross-provincial cruises stopped operation due to the outbreak of COVID-19, arrived at Fengdu County of Chongqing Municipality, southwest China. Cruise companies are also required not to exceed 50% of maximum passenger quota. Finally, oil prices climbed Monday, supported by Saudi optimism about Asia demand and an Iraqi pledge to deepen supply cuts, although uncertainty over a deal to shore up the U.S. economic recovery capped gains. Brent crude rose 0.8% to $44.74 a barrel early morning, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate were up 1.1% to $41.69 a barrel. Both benchmark contracts fell on Friday, hurt by demand concerns, but Brent still ended the week up 2.5%, with West Texas Intermediate up 2.4%. Saudi Arabia's Aramco expects oil demand rebounding in Asia as economies gradually open up after the easing of coronavirus lockdowns. On supply side, Iraq targets to cut its oil output by a further 400,000 barrels per day between August and September to compensate for its overproduction in the past 3 months and comply with its share of cuts by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies, together called OPEC+. Ronald Willie, Business Defined.
And now the latest in the world of sports is that Atletico Madrid say 2 individuals have tested positive for coronavirus before Thursday's UEFA Champions League quarter-final against RB Leipzig in Lisbon, and their named individuals are isolating at home. The positive cases were discovered after first-team players and club staff traveling to Lisbon were tested in Madrid. They will now be retested along with close contacts of the positive cases. And that is all we had for you as per now, but we're still working on more stories for you. So remember, you can catch the rest in our subsequent news bulletins at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. And of course, also continue interacting with us on social media for the latest updates at KBC Channel 1. My name is Serfine Achieng. Our sign language interpreter has been Simon Karotha. Have a lovely afternoon.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit